In this demonstration, we're going to look at the class diagram tool. Here I am inside the Using Class Diagram project, and I'm going to take this employee class and right-click on it and choose View Class Diagram. The Class Diagram tool exists to make it simple to diagram and model your classes. It provides a visual representation of your classes and their relationships with other entities. It also provides a way of modifying or adding new entities to your application. You can think of it as a very lightweight UML tool. I can click on this chevron here to learn more information about the employee class. I see that it derives from the person base class and it has these properties. Now I can right-click on this and choose to show base class, and it will figure out that there was a base class called person and that there's a relationship between them. It's also drawing the relationship arrow, showing that there's an inheritance relationship here. As you can see, I can also drag these around different spots on the screen, and the arrow moves accordingly. At the bottom of the screen, you can see an editor for changing these class details. Let's say I decide to change the name of this hire date to hired date. I can put the D in here, press enter. Notice that it changes it up here in my properties. And then I can go look at the class details, again down here at the bottom, or I can go over to my employee class and see that it was modified over here too. I'll show you another way to add a class diagram. Right-click, choose Add, New Item, search for the word diagram, then click Add. Now this one's completely blank, so how do I add classes to this diagram? One way is to go over to your Solution Explorer and drag them over to the Designer surface. I can also create new classes. I press the Delete key to remove those items from the class diagram. Now it tells me how I can create new items. Create new types by dragging items from the toolbox. Let's look. Excellent. There's a class. I created a class in the diagram. It also added an item to my project called livedemo.cs. And I can also drag over enumerations, interfaces, and so on. Once you have these classes, you can then go down here and add methods, properties, fields, events, and more. And again, as I put them in here, you'll see that they show up. I need to fix this typo. They show up over here in this live demo class. There's my file date, and there's my save file method. Another way to add classes, let's remove all these. I'll select them with my mouse and hit the delete key. Then I'll go to my class view. Here's another view of the classes. What happens if I pick up this namespace and drag this over? Well, in that case, it takes all of the members that are inside that namespace and adds them to this list. And this becomes handy when you're working with .NET classes. Have you ever wondered to yourself the relationship between all the classes in the Microsoft libraries? Here's how you can solve this problem. Go back to Solution Explorer. I already have a diagram called System.io diagram, which I'll open. Then I'll go to my class view, and I'll search for System.io. Here's the namespace that has a number of classes in it. What I'm going to do is I'm going to pick up the namespace and drag it over to my diagram tool. And now I can see every single class in that namespace and the relationships. They're a little bit small, so let's zoom in. I'm zooming in by holding down the control key and using the scroll wheel on my mouse. Then I'll slide over sideways and we can see the relationships between these classes. So let's review. If you want to look at your classes in a Visual Designer, or if you want to edit them in a Visual Designer, use the Class Diagram tool.